Hi, this is Carl Carlson from Sweden. This is the part two of my broadcast of this journey of hell, or whatever you want to call it. So, yes, I will continue from where I stopped. And yes, this Belarus military prison or facility. Um, so yeah, I was I will go back a little, but I was after interrogated for about 10 hours at the border checkpoint with this Belarus military and secret police. They spoke really bad English, so it's and they went through all my things, and I had like a lot of USB memories card sticks, so and they went through all of this, and I had been working on this as I'm also I'm a graphic designer, and I'm also an inventor. And I had invented this defense military weapon system that I had on my USB stick, and a lot of images surrounding this. So this made them also really suspicious of me, and they were really certain I was in military, and they thought I was a CIA asset of some kind, and or if I wasn't CIA, I was definitely Swedish military, and everything was, they were so suspicious. Everything was, for example, my sons, they have a different last name than I have, because my name is Carlson, and in Sweden Carlson is really uh, what can I say, it's a really usual name, and their mom has a better sounding name. We thought it was more beautiful name, you know. So we decided, okay, they can have that her name instead. So by this, they thought, oh, this can't be your sons, and you have this is just some the yeah, fake personality, or you, you your real name is probably John Smith, working for CIA, and I was like, no. No, I'm not, but uh, yeah. So anyway, they eventually, in the middle of the night, this bus turns up, and they was like, I was like, okay, I'm going for political asylum here. I'm not the enemy. I'm tortured in my country from my police, and you know I'm in need of help here. I'm not I'm not here to cause any trouble, but since they thought I was a spy, they really thought that they didn't like know what to think of me. So by that, I was treated uh, that this way. So they was really, at least in the beginning, they were really hostile, and so the and then this bus turned up, and they was like, okay, get on the bus, get on bus. And I was like, okay. And they was like, haha, welcome to Belarus. Uh, I'm not lying, they actually said exactly like that. So I was like, okay, this is not going like I thought it would in any terms. Uh, so okay, I got on this bus and I didn't know. Okay, is this bus gonna take me to some fancy hotel in Minsk? That's the capital of Belarus, or is it going to take me to where are we going? They didn't tell me, and that was like so frightening and horrible, not knowing where are we going with this bus and this really hostile soldiers, this bus packed with them. And eventually we turn up outside this huge military base prison out, and I could see from the road signs Minsk, and we never we didn't go that direction. We're going somewhere else, and I was like, no, 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 no. I was thinking for myself, this is not. We are not going to some fancy hotel in Minsk or anything like this. And then I see these gates at this military, and they was like lining up outside the bus and like, okay, get outside. And I was like, okay, they really think I am CIA or anything like this. They will execute me, and this is happening. This is taking place. And oh my god, so I'm not lying. I thought this was the end, and they had machine guns and they made this circle. So I was in the middle with my my bag packed with. I have my portfolio with me, and we was walking inside this military facility, and I see this really old building, and everything was so old, and like it was like you went back in time to the 60s. This is a poor country, and for me as a Swede, I've never seen anything like it. It was, and I can't even describe it. The military equipment, the cars, it wasn't like Humvees, that the Americans has. This was like the cars was like from the World War One. I'm telling you, it was. Anyway, we come to this facility, and they was like, okay, get inside, and I was going inside, and it was like the floor was like stamped mold. It wasn't even floors. It was like, it's so rotten. It was so, I can't even find words for it. It was like going into some cabin in the woods. Okay, and we sat down, and they was like really hostile, and no one spoke English, so I couldn't communicate in any terms. And then we just sat there, and I was about to, pass out. I was so exhausted and scared, so I was really, I had a hard time walking. And we sat there for like, I don't know how long it was, and they told me, okay, get up, we're going to another facility here. And we started walking. Went outside and started walking, and now I had like 5 soldiers. And we go to this, oh my god, this facility. It was It was the worst thing I have ever seen in my life. And it was barbed wires, 2 layers, and 2 gates, and this really horrible facility. And I go inside, and this really badass. I will show you a link in the description. This is also. Uh, how can I explain this in some short way? But okay, as I was suffering at home from torture for years at my mom's place, I started to look at these videos from the Syrian conflict and the Russian Ukraine war in so-called Nova Russia, and I find this really badass guy named Givi. So, and I thought he was kind of cool. I don't know. No, I'm not taking any sides in this conflict or anything like this, but I just thought he was badass, and he's dead today. They killed him, but anyway, he was and he was badass. You can't even say anything else. So it's this kind of funny video on YouTube where he's shelled with grenades all around him, and he doesn't care. He just stands there and lights up cigarettes, and I will show you a link in the description what I'm talking about here. But this kind of guy turned up, kind of Kiwi personality, started to interrogate me, going through my stuff. And they had been through my stuff for 10 hours already, and now all over again. And this was a scary ass dude, I tell you. This was not some guy to fool around with. And there was this kind of persons all day, but this guy was really, not the guy to pull some joke on or something like this. Because and oh my god, I forgot to tell you, as we was walking inside this facility, there was a cell block, and these small cells, I think it was like 6 of them, and I looked inside one of them. I just took a step forward, and this was this small hatch, and I looked inside, and there was a candlelight on the floor, and it was 6 people inside, and it was the most frightening thing I have ever seen in my life. And I was thinking, oh my god, because in the first facility we went to, that was like, I don't know, it was okay, not okay, or it was frightening, but if you compare this cells to where I first was, this was okay. You wouldn't put your dog in there. You wouldn't put you wouldn't even put a rat in there. I'm telling you, that was, oh my god. Anyway, I thought like, okay, if they put me in there, I'm dead. That's okay. If they haven't shot me, but okay, this is another way of dying. And I guess in these cells they had this Ukrainian gun smuggler, weapon smugglers, or I don't know who, but if I'm just having a guess here, who this people was inside that cells. So anyway, he took me to a room, and he was started like, yeah, what about your dog tags? Who are you working for? And I'm just okay. I'm just a graphic designer. Excuse me, I have to take a drink here. Um, so so he started to go through my portfolio with my graphic designs. Uh, and, oh, sorry, my voice cracks up. And he, I had this dirt bikes on one of my graphic designs, and he was like, "Oh, this is I like," and I was like, "Oh, okay, you like dirt bikes," and I'm like a crazy dirt bike fan, motocross. I'm totally into that, and I've been since like birth. So and I have bike. I like in really basic English. He told me he had bike, and I was like, oh, really cool. I also have bike, and we started to get a little friendly and find at least some normal way of communicating here. And then he was like, okay, we go outside for smoke. So so and I could tell, all the other soldiers, they was like younger, in the mid 20s, and they were really scared of him, and had a huge respect for this guy. And he was friendly to me, and that resulted in they like respected me. It's hard to explain this, but and describe this situation. But we went outside, and I had some cigarettes, and I gave them some cigarettes, and they, our kind of cigarettes is better branded than their cigarettes in that country. And we started to, like, at least, we're not enemies, and I'm not here to cause any, like, I'm not spying here and something like this. And yeah, and like after this, they told me, okay, we go back to this facility number 1, and inside that, they had a room for me, and it was really horrible, but not horrible in compared to this cell block. I can tell you that. So they was like, okay, you can sleep now. There will come special men for you tomorrow. Okay, and I was like, where am I? And who is this man coming? And they was like, okay, you will see tomorrow. Okay, sleep now. You sleep like that. Okay. So I was lying on my bed, and I was like, oh my god, okay, let's face my situation here. They don't want me here. This didn't turn out the way I expected it to. I won't get this help, and you know, and and I was thinking, okay, who can I turn to here? I have to, like, take my asylum back. I'm going for political asylum here. I have to, like, take this back, and do what I can to just get out of this place more, you know. And in Sweden we have this Carl Bildt. He's a former prime minister of Sweden, and he's working, I think, in foreign relations somehow, and this is kind of the guy to help Swedish citizens if you go into trouble. And I, like, posted bad things about him on Facebook, and and a lot of Swedes don't like him. He's, like, really sneaky, and I don't really have anything against this guy, but he's really, it's like a lot of people in the US don't like Hillary Clinton and thinks she's an eel, or really, she gets out of any kind of situation, and he's like the Swedish version of Hillary. I don't know, yeah, but you know what I mean. And journalists has confronted him with, like, things for years and years, and he's an expert in solving like solving stuff. So anyway, okay, is this the guy who's he's not going to come for my rescue? That's for sure. So what can I do here? This is like, if I call this Carl Bildt, he's going to sit at home and play Xbox, or whatever this guy is doing. And yeah, and they had like huge security on me. It was like ridiculous. They had 4 guards outside this room with machine guns. Like, I was going to escape. Are you serious? I could barely stand on my legs and walk. And are you serious? I'm in the middle of nowhere, outside in the forest of Belarus. Are you think I'm really going to try to escape? And I could hear they had this 2 lines of fences with this really horrible dogs outside, like steroid pumped dogs. You could hear them bark, like it was like hundreds of them. Like, this barks like it's you could have your hair on made your hair on your arms like raise up, like this. Ow, ow, this werewolves like barking, like standing outside if you can imagine a Formula 1 car track with the cars, just hauling it out on the straightaways. Like, I don't know. Okay, that was kind of a ridiculous comparison, but this. Yeah, I'm lying there in the bed all alone in the middle of nowhere, and just listening to this crazy dogs just waiting for me outside for a morning snack. And they really think I will go try to run, knock out these 4 guards, run, climb this fence, and then run for like, I don't know, 20 hours to the border without food or water? Are you serious? But okay. Eventually I passed out and I fell asleep. And in the morning they had this horrible food. Okay, and I was like, okay, I had to eat. I have to eat. This is like, it's not about if it's good or bad food. This is like survival food. So I grabbed my nose and started to eat. And so I ate up, and now these guards come and take. Okay, let's go outside. So, and now it was just 2 guards, and things like calmed down a little from from the day earlier. And and we went to this other facility, and now finally an English speaking military comes up, and I sat down with him for hours, and we just spoke and spoke. I told him my situation, and I told him, okay, this I understand it, like, okay, this, and he was so friendly. I can't even describe. So he was like, okay, this is, I want you to know, this is not the kind of company, no, country to go to for help in, because okay, I don't want to put this person in some kind of trouble if this video is listened to. Okay, and I don't want to reveal everything here, but okay, he was cool, and he was like, okay, I want you to know, if you really want asylum here, you will have to learn to speak Russian in 1 month. You will have to get a job in 1 month. We don't want asylum seekers. It's just that nobody goes here for asylum. You see all these Syrian refugees. You see anyone coming for Belarus? No, nobody goes here. Okay. I've been maybe I've been a little blind here, or you know. Uh, okay, so but okay, I want to take this back. Okay, I don't want asylum here. And like the moment I said that, he was like on the phone talking to Lukashenko and all of this high military, and they was like, okay, I could tell it was a relief for them as well for me, because this I became a problem for them. They didn't know how to handle this, and then okay, then a lot of okay, I won't speak about this either, but this high military persons turned up, and we sat down, and a lot of things happened. And eventually I went, and after all of this, they just had military, guard, like in his 20s, and no like pointing machine guns at me, and nothing like this. We could just relax and go outside smoking. And they like, okay, you have to write a letter here, a statement, and repeat after me. And I was like, okay, no problem. And I said, I have been really well treated by the border guards and the military and the police, and I was like, okay, my name is Carl Carlson. I have been really well treated. Blah blah blah. This entire letter, and I received everything, and I got my money back and all my stuff back, which was true. So, but yeah, this is how this plays out. And okay, after this, they were like, okay, you have to wait for some like 1 hour, and they will come and pick you up. So now I stand outside the gates with like 2 guards, and we're waiting for my transport. And eventually, this really old, crappy Jeep turns out like a Willys Jeep, or not even that, something really older. So there was 2 guards in front and 2 on each side of me in the back seat, and all quiet in this Jeep or SUV, or what to call it. And they was like, okay, I have to. This is kind of ridiculous, but I have to just mention this, just to let you know how poor this country is. So on the highway, they turned this Jeep up to high speed, up to like 100 miles an hour or 80 miles per hour. And they pumped down the clutch and rolled as long as we could, down to like 50 miles per hour. And then they restarted the car and up to 100 again, and rolled all the way for like 2 hours to not waste any gas. And eventually we got to the border, and this border is huge. It's like miles of cars lined up. It's top security. It's not like if you go to Germany or something. Maybe it's like between the US and Mexico. It's that kind of really high security, and I think it's also because of the conflict with Ukraine and all of this. But it's not this. This is not to Ukraine, but this is really high. This is the kind of country this is. Anyway, we turn up in this jeep. We walk outside, and there's like so much people. They are just looking at us, and they in this country they know if you come outside this bus with 4 military, and you go inside the military, they know, okay, this guy has not been in some fun place, or, this guy is, I don't know, like some huge gangster or something like. I could just tell from how people looked at this. They was like, okay, this is serious. This is, But anyway, and yeah, this guy, this military is from the day before, who had been like really welcome to Belarus, like, they, this kind of guy. He was standing there, trying to impress on some girls sitting in a car, and I come walking, and I was like, oh, hi. And he was like, oh, what are you doing? I'm going back now, like, this is what this is no fun. Like that. And he was like, how can this be? How can they, what is going on here? And I was like, yeah, you go figure, bye. So and then I went to this huge checkpoint, and and I couldn't find any transportations back to Vilnius in the Lithuania. So I had to go with this Russian truck driver, and I had to pay him off, and he was from Moscow. So yeah, and he took me to Vilnius, and now back in Vilnius, I had the Swedish agents, I had the Vilnius agents, I had the Belarus who wanted to see if I was CIA and who I talked to. So I had like 3 countries of agents. I know. I started to get paranoid as well. I was in shock from what I have been through in Belarus, and and not only this, what I've been through in Sweden, and it never ends. It never ends. So I checked into this really nice hotel. I had to have a shower, and I was so scared. I looked under the bed, behind the curtains, in the wardrobe for assassins. That's how scared I was. It was like a James Bond movie. So yeah, and there was no, and I went to buy a pack of beers and just went back and had a shower. And I called my mom, and I was telling her, okay, this went so horrible, and she was like, oh, I knew it, because you haven't called me. I just knew it. I could feel. I knew something bad has happened, and I was like, oh yeah, it did. Yeah. But okay, I will move on to France now and try to get in touch with this Germain or Colmain, Gerard or Colmain. This Canadian journalist. He's really hardcore. To me, he's like he. A few of these journalists, they really tells what's taking place in the world in a greater perspective, and yeah, he's not afraid to speak his mind. So I posted comments to him on my Facebook, and the Swedish police entered my Facebook, deleting our correspondence in order to silence me and my situation. This is how far this goes. Deleting comments. It's okay. So I was thinking, okay, let's go to Paris. Let's find this guy. I'm that kind of person. I do this. I don't. I'm not scared. I tell the truth. I will tell everybody if that's what's needed. I will go to Russia. I will find Edward Snowden personally. I will do what it takes to do. They can try to silence me. I This is cowards. This is, are you afraid of something? Are you afraid of, are you torturing and harassing a person and then you're afraid of this person telling what you're doing to him? Are you serious? Okay. So, yeah, but I was so financially struggling, and I was really scared, and I'm still scared. It's not that I'm not scared. Of course I'm scared. This is horrible. And I have all reasons to be scared. I'm not. I'm just telling my story here, and they have done things to me I will never be able to talk about, because that stuff is not revealed, even from whistleblowers. So and I know a lot of stuff I will never be able to speak about. It's just that it's not simple, but it's you have to be smart, and I can't. Some things are sensitive. Edward Snowden, for example, they told him straight up, we will have him murdered, and that's the kind of world we live in, and I don't want to die, and so I to explain it to you, I talk about things here that's already revealed by a huge amount of whistleblowers and other victims. So I'm not whistleblowing, and I'm not revealing any secrets here and things like this. But I know things that's not revealed, that I can't speak about, because that will things will go from bad to worse if we just put it that way. So yeah, anyway, I went. I planned on going to Paris, but I went on trains, and I had like one or two secret service or police following me, and that's nothing compared to a day in Södertälje with like 50 of them. So one of two, that's like nothing. So anyway, I went to Berlin, Germany, and I went straight to the embassy. I took a cab there to the Swedish embassy, and on the embassy, this guy turns up that's harassed my sons in their neighborhood, working for the police. This guy turns up on the Swedish embassy. They knew exactly I was coming there. Yeah. So okay, they had Swedish police following me. Of course, I didn't suspect anything else. And yeah, and I was like, okay, I want to speak with the staff here. I need help, and I'm in shock. Like, I'm really scared. Like, I have to tell you about what's been taking place in Belarus. And, yeah. So this woman from this embassy turns up. We sit down in this special room, with a window and a microphone, and I tell her, okay, I went for asylum in Belarus, and I've been tortured in Sweden. My situation is horrible. Can you help me with a journalist? Anything? No. And she was like really hostile. No, we won't help you. Do you need money? No, and I was like, oh, I have some kind of money left here, so no. Go back to Sweden. That's all I can tell you. Why didn't you go straight back to Sweden? This is not the closest way to go to Germany from. You could go straight back with the cruise ship from, Belarus. And I was like, oh, okay. There's more. This situation is little bit far more complex than just going back to torture in Sweden with directed energy weapons. But this is not something you explain in 5 or 10 minutes. I'm sure you can understand that. So okay, I just I'm not going to get any help here either. Let's just move on. I went into Berlin, the capital in the city, and I was like, okay, let's stay here. And it was kind of cool to check out Berlin. I just been there once before when I was really young with my grandmother. So it was kind of cool to check out Berlin, and I wasn't that harassed, and not like surrounded with 50 people coughing and all of this in Sweden. So yeah, that was a relief, or some what to call it. But I was also like, okay, I'm short of money here. I won't be able to go to Paris. Paris is really expensive in terms of hotels, bills, and finding this journalist. I probably will have to stay there for like 3 or 4 days, and I was like, okay, this is not going to work out with this short amount of money. $1,000. So okay, let's go to try to find some way back here, and maybe I can find a job in Denmark, I was thinking. So I went back. I took a bus and a boat back to Copenhagen. I checked into this really cool hostel this was a really bad neighborhood. It's called Eastergarde. It's in the central of Copenhagen. But Copenhagen is really different from Sweden. They have a totally different mindset, and Danish people is really more easygoing than Swedes. Swedes is like, I can't even describe how the mental state of the average Swede is. They stand like in salute of the Swedish military, the politics, they have this huge trust in Sweden in the military and police, and they can't even imagine this police is involved in terror and domestic and weapons experiments, and this is human rights, and in Swedes' perception, with Swedes, they follow like this music competitions, and it's called the Schlager, and it's the Idol, and it's talent shows, and it's housewives, and it's on the news. We speak about, the most ridiculous things. It's no investigative journalism. No, it's hard to describe. In they ridicule Americans. We have these commercials oh, the stupid Americans. It's like they believe in UFOs. They believe in, ridiculing anything, calling things conspiracy, and as I was growing up, I went for that, and I was like thinking, oh, the Americans must be really stupid. And, the older I get, I'm 43 years old now. I'm thinking, okay, the Americans they are really having. It's sane. It's not. It's sane. It's healthy to have. How can I say? To not believe everything from your government. The Americans, they have guns. They want to protect themselves from the military and police going domestic terrorism. They know this is not some. This is also areas to be questioned. We as Swedes don't question these powers. The Americans do. And the Swedes ridicule Americans because of this. And, everything questioning your government, that's a conspiracy theory. That's a conspiracy theory. If you address, certain agendas from the military and police, it's a conspiracy theory. Oh my God, these people, they would never be involved in anything really criminal or, these people, they are so, oh my God, they are so good, which they are not. And we a lot of us knows this, but, in Sweden, most people live in this, I don't know, fantasy of I don't know. And at the same time, Sweden is a good country. Sweden is, in terms, in international terms, and Sweden is a fantastic country. Most people have good economy. People has Papa Vecka. It's a daddy. Or no, it's Papa Vecka. It's, parents are able to stay at home with your children when you have a birth. You can stay at home for years if you want to, with full paid from. We have a lot of good things in this country, but all I'm saying here is our military and police is involved with really horrible things, and which people and journalists is not looking into, just like any other country. So anyway, I get back to Denmark here, and Danish people, Danes are a little bit more like Americans. That's all I'm saying here. They are not that. They are a little more badass, and or they are not afraid to speak their minds and things like this. And I am more Danish than Swedish in terms of my personality, or what. Okay, wait a second. I have to have a drink here. Okay, sorry for that. So anyway, I and in Copenhagen, in Denmark, I also had like one police following me, so just to see who I spoke to, and it wasn't like in Sweden. In Södertälje in Sweden, I have like 100 people every day with this. It's not 100 police officers; it's 100 people. So it's like 20 police and then they have this community network of people participating in harassment, people they have recruited in this I don't know, they call this agendas, or agenda 21, or I don't know how they have labeled this, but it's called community, an extension of community policing, taking part in psychological torture towards flagged individuals like myself. So anyway, I was really short on money in Copenhagen, and I was thinking, okay, what to do here, and I went to a photographer and showed them my portfolio, professional photographers, and they was like, oh, this is really, we love your work, this is really really good stuff you have here. You can get a job in if you sit here and wait for the boss, the company owner here, and you will have a job in 10 minutes. We promise you. And I was like, oh. And that was on so many levels so nice to hear, because in Sweden they also block. If I have, there's a page like Deviant Art, and anything online they use this JTrig, so people are not able to see my art. And before I could get like these likes on Facebook and all this. So I got this in 1 hour. I could get like 60 likes, and after they started this JTrig, I had zero likes for the past 6 years now. Whatever, all my art, graphic designs, or whatever I publish, zero likes. So they prevent my videos, my testimonies, anything, art, anything is blocked, because they are so scared my story will get out there. So just to hear this professional photographers saying this is really great work, and just to get that credibility, or it felt good, of course, but and at the same time I was like, okay, I won't have any money here to stay and work here for 1 month before my first paycheck, and I will have to live on the streets of Copenhagen before I receive my first paycheck. So this won't work out. I will be forced to go back to Sweden, to torture, to all this hell of taking place in Sweden. What else can I do? I can't sleep on the streets. And today I think, okay, I should have went to some human rights organizations, all of these journalists, and I didn't do this. I was more focused in trying to get a job and all of this. So, I regret I didn't put any effort into that, but anyway. So I stayed in Copenhagen. I met 2 cool guys that I hang out with from Switzerland, and they were really cool, friendly guys. We went. I got really drunk, and we went to this Christiania. It's a place in Copenhagen that's anything is legal. Not anything, but yeah, it's a society in the society. It's a special place. It's called Christiania. you could check it out on Google or you know. Anyway, and 2 days after this, I took the bus back to Sweden, back to hell again. And at that time, my oldest son studied at Malmö. It's a city down in Sweden. So he arranged so I could sleep at his school for one night. And I had a really good rest there, and a really, I nice bed and everything. I at that time I'd slept on these hostels and Belarus prison and this really horrible journey. So that was a really good night's sleep, I can tell you that. Anyway, after this, I tried to get a job in Malmö. I went to the social welfare system in Malmö. I told them about my situation, and they was like, is this for real? This is the worst we have ever heard about. And I told them how the Södertälje, outside Stockholm, my city, how the social welfare office is infiltrated by the police, and how they treated me for years, and how they refused to help me, and they also participate in these Yatrig actions, and this is totally corrupted by the police, this social welfare office. And in Sweden, once again, we don't talk about anything like this on the news. And no. This is described as myndighetssamverkan in Sweden. It's a cooperation between authorities, not and if this thing would play out in China and Swedish news would report on it, then the word corruption or torture and these words would turn up immediately. But since it's taking place in Sweden, it's they put nicer words as usual on what's taking place here. So they was like, okay, you have to be into the unemployment system here in Malmö. You have to do this and this, and eventually they said, okay, go back to Stockholm, go back to Södertälje. They have to help you. They can't say this. This is against the law. This is, and I told them, but they don't. They don't. What can I do? But they just repeated, no, this is against the law. They have to help you. And I told them, but they don't. They don't. And they like, okay, but go back. We just tell you, go back. They have to help you. This is the law in Sweden. They have to help you. Just hands down. They have to help you. And all of this is a violation of European Convention of Human Rights. They have to help you. Okay, I gave it one more shot. I thought. I took the train back to Stockholm. I called the social welfare system, and they said, no, we won't help you. Bye. And I'm standing there on the street. I have no money. I have nowhere to turn. I have my sons crying at home at their mother, and she's assaulted with these weapons as well. They are assaulted with these weapons. They are harassed. I am harassed. My entire life and family is destroyed on all levels. I'm sitting on the street. I have no money. I have nowhere to turn. I'm sleeping at McDonald's. I have police sitting in front of the next table looking at me all night. They are following me step by step. I have 50 police now in Sweden. Every step I take, I'm assaulted with directed energy weapons. I'm tortured. I'm, uh, I, it's Yatrig. It's this weapon system. It's everything you can never imagine taking place in a country like Sweden. And they use, I'm sleeping in the streets. I'm sleeping with the refugees at the train station. The paperless refugees. They have nowhere to turn. They can't contact authorities. They are from Somalia and Libya. They are from Afghanistan, Iraq, Syria, you name it. And I'm the only father of two. I'm the only one. I'm the only Swedish father of two. I'm sitting there, and I'm surrounded by police harassing me, keeping me awake for weeks, with sleep deprivation, torturing me. I'm sleep. Oh my god. Oh my god. It's hard to talk about this. I can tell you. I had to beg for food. I slept in churches. I slept on benches. I I slept on toilets. I slept. Oh my god. I tried to explain to my dad. I called him. And and I will get back to this. And the police in Sweden, they accused me for 20 years ago for I was involved in this person who died, and they tried to portray me as a murderer and all of this bullshit. And I was afraid to speak to them, and I called them and I told them, okay, I will. Is this why you're doing this to me? I will tell you everything I have been to in my entire life. And I brought this really serious things I've been involved in going back 20 years ago. And they was like, oh, okay, we contact you in tomorrow. And I was like, okay, this is so serious. This has been on the news and everything. So they will like come in 5 minutes. And they was like, oh, we contact you tomorrow. Okay, and I sat down and I was like, I can find any other reason why they do this to me, or experimenting. They select few people, or that I will have been really outspoken on Facebook and about the police, and they know I don't like them. They did things to me when I was 16 years old, for example. We did this burglary once at this sports club, and we stole some lottery tickets. It was really stupid because it turned out this lottery tickets was expired. But anyway, I'm not saying I've been the best kid around. And I've been involved in some friends of mine stole cars, and I was going in these cars. I never personally stole any cars, but I've been going in cars that were stolen. I taken part we stole a boat once, a stupid little boat, and we was arrested for this. So I'm not saying I'm the best of it, I've been involved. I've bullied kids. I've been bullied myself, and I'm not saying I'm some kind of angel here. It's not what this is about. But I got involved in really serious criminal things, and not even criminal, and they so they're like, okay, we're gonna call you back about this, and it takes like 5 days, and I was now surrounded by 100 police. It got ridiculous, you know. So in Sweden they ask, okay, who's the police doing this? You know, if you have the police after you, you have they take their resources. It's not more difficult than this. So who is the police we can use today? What kind of resources do we have? You know, it's not that complicated how this work. Okay, we put 50 people on this guy, or we put 100 people on this guy, or okay, now we have committed so many crimes towards this guy or girl or you name it, this person. So okay, if this person gets in touch with journalists, we are this is a scandal. We will get out of a job. You know, like if you're a criminal or into bad things, whatever profession you're into, and especially if you're into the police and have committed crimes for years and years and years. And I spoke to this journalist at this Uppdrag Granskning. It's a news show. His name is Joachim Divermark, and he told me, okay, this includes hundreds of police. The scale of this, they have put millions of Swedish kronas, and that's like no, hundreds of millions into this investigations that you are involved in. So I was like, okay, and hundreds of millions in US dollars. It's just I don't know, but that's what he said. I don't know. So let's say 100 million US dollars. That's the scale of this. And so okay, and then they called me back, and they started to interrogate me on the phone, and I was like, okay, they are playing stupid here. They have followed me with hundreds of people. Why don't they not picking me up? If they want to talk to me, if they want to hear what I've been through for in a serious, like how this should be proceed, you know, we should sit down and talk. No. They are playing games here, dirty games. So they don't want to any lawyer. They don't want to speak. They start to interrogate me on the phone, and I started to tell them what I've been through, and I say, okay, is this really how this is supposed to go down? Are you serious? Aren't we supposed to sit down, a lawyer and everything? This is horrible accusations from you. Okay, in that case, we don't want to speak to you. Bye. And then hang up the telephone. I'm standing there. This is how the Swedish police plays dirty games. And it's not only taking place in Sweden. This is taking place since the 60s with this COINTELPRO and you name it. This is how they... you know, and this was years and years ago, and I spoke to people in the social welfare system, and some of them are like, yeah, you are right, this is dirty games, this is what they are doing, there's no question about it. Eventually I went back to Södertälje. I spoke to journalists, I spoke to politicians, and eventually you know, my mom had to pay for my hotel bills, my food. I slept in hotels. I was harassed at hotels. I was tortured at hotels. You name it. And this went on for about a year. And, you know, I'm not the only one suffering here. My sons goes in school. Where is dad? And you know, their mom is harassed as well. and tortured, and where their friends, okay, they go to a good school, people are on a kind of wealthy level here, or so they live in that kind of environment, and their dad, he walks around homeless in Stockholm, harassed, talking about some weapons and people harassing, torturing him. And what can they make out of this? What? How can you explain this to your sons? And some of these things I don't want them to know about. You know, I don't want them to know about torture weapons and things taking place here. That's so horrible. I don't want them to, some things you don't want. You lose hope in the future just knowing about this kind of things. How dark our society or police and military turned into some insane, experiments, things on people, things most people think this is a thing of the past, and and my city, Södertälje, 10 years ago, we have, this city is heavily involved in organized crime from immigrants from certain countries. They started these huge gangs, and this is not the kind of gangs, it's not. It involves everything from families at higher levels. It involves politics. It involves, this is not the kind of people to mess around with. This is not some joke here. This is powerful people. They are still in place today. They are not stupid. They are friends with police, and they are not. Okay. Some of them was more on the level of how can I put it? All gangs. If you take the cartels, you have this level of people fighting on streets, and shootings, and involved with killings and things like this. And then you have the smart people on the top. They are not involved in this kind of actions. They are more involved in business and things like this. Anyway, to make a really, really, really long story short here, the Swedish police, there was a few shootings, and a lot of people died here in these gangs, and there was rival gangs and taking place here in my city, Södertälje, and involving this organizations, and the Swedish police and government decided, okay, we are going to perform the biggest police and military. They didn't say military out loud, but that's what it is. We're going to perform the biggest operation in the history of Sweden in Södertälje. We will name this Tore, Tore, 1, 2, and 3. Like Tore 1, Tore 2, Tore 3, and Operation Tore and Operation Mareld, Mareld. So this is 4 operations, or this Tore is one operation split in 4 stages. I'm not really into this, but Anyway, this is the biggest operation in the history of Sweden. It involves the Navy, Air Force, military, civil defense, creation of neighborhood groups, creation of society policing, creation of this uh, huge campaigns. It's Yatrig, it's agendas, it's you name it. It's a military operation. Uh, if you think what the police and military is, the military is an extension of the police. It's the same thing in every country in the world. So it's not that huge difference if you think about it. It's the police and military is of course cooperating. So now we have police with and we have a world with a military who possess over directed energy torture weapons, and we have black ops with the police and military, and we have security police, and we have you name it. You can put any words on this. It's black ops. It's you can name these operations what you want, but these operations involves using military and weapons towards the civilian community. It's not that hard to understand this if you I don't know, if you think of it. So if it, for example, for me, they labeled me, and I am suspicious in crime investigation. I understand this. So they use these weapons at me, and they also suspect my children's mother. So they started to use this on my children's mother. She went from being a kind of a normal mother to running around, hiding in streets of Stockholm, scared of people harassing her on the streets. And I thought, because I didn't understand this, and this was not done to me at that point, so I thought, okay, she must be turned insane. What's she talking about? And this is how they play out this Yatrig assaults. It involves people running after you at streets, performing horrible things at you. That's supposed to sound insane when you tell about it to other people. But it's so evil. I can't even describe it. So anyway, this is what they started. They also done things to my sister. They done things to my brother. They done things to my friends of mine who has committed suicide. At least that's what I'm told. They have committed suicide. I don't know if that's true or not, but yeah. And of course I can't prove this was they did commit suicide because of this, and I can't prove I'm assaulted with this weapons. I can't prove I'm assaulted with this harassment Yatrig. I can't prove, I can't. This is you don't think they have thought of this? You really think they are that stupid? Committing what some whistleblowers from military and police refers to as the worst crimes of the time of mankind. You don't think really think this crimes is committed and they would be that kind of stupid? Of course not. Of course not. So, as a victim of this, it's really hard to as I told you in the previous podcast, it's a really hard thing to, or not in the previous, but in another broadcast. It's not part of this Belarus series I'm doing here, but you can find that. I named that podcast Help for Other Victims, and I'm just talking about how this is done and what is taking place. So you can listen to that one if you are a family member of someone tortured with this kind of things, actions and weapons. So I just did this video just in order to, it's really, it sounds insane, and it's meant to sound insane when you tell others about this. So, yeah. And anyway, they managed to close down, and this city went from being really a bad place. Actually, it was really bad. I won't say anything else about it. It was one of Sweden's worst cities, and even, I'm not that kind of guy who's like scared and things like this. I I can manage myself like that, and but people in general was, of course, started to get scared. There's shootings in the street, and people was scared of going outside, and the companies started to, they don't, no, they don't want to invest in a city where gangs rule, and this all of this started to get into politics, and this is taking a grand scale here, going I don't know, out of hands, or the situation is going out of hands for the government. People are not feeling safe, and things like this. And also, if you're a criminal, you don't feel that pressure from the police, you will also think, oh, it's okay, who cares about them, nothing will happen anyway. You get, of course, what prevents you from getting into organized crime and making millions if you can get away with it, and this this city is people in this city is kind of hardcore, or at a psychological level, or and I think this goes hand in hand with we're not as wealthy here as maybe other parts in Sweden. I don't know. Of course, this affects people as well. But yeah. Anyway, they locked these people up. They are, and this entire city went from a war zone into a really peaceful place. It is. We have some drunks, of course, like any city do, but from this hardcore, the organized crime and people afraid to go outside, from that to where we are today, it's night and day. It's I can tell you that it's people, and I know these people a little. I'm not friends with them. It's not what I'm saying here. I'm not involved in organized crime whatsoever. I've never been. But this is not that huge city. We're like 100,000 or 150,000 people here. Everybody knows everybody, at least a little bit. But anyway, I can tell. I know they know they have their eyes on them, and they started act really, behave really good, and not their normal how they was before, and maybe it's a good thing. I don't know. Of course, it's good if people, but I can tell they know they have their eyes on them. I know this, I notice things like this, and the people in my city don't. Others don't notice things like this, but I do. I I believe I'm quite good at reading people like that. And, yeah. So anyway, and our politicians in Sweden, they talk about Sweden on television like every day, and how good example this is, and I can't disagree with this, and they also always, not always, but a lot of times, when Sweden is debated on television and the progress of our society, we have been struggling, and we are struggling with a lot of criminals, and not that super organized. I wouldn't put it in those terms. It's more, to me, it's more like a lot of unemployed, spoiled brats. Or not spoiled, of course not, but unemployed youth running around and causing a lot of shit in our society, and there's a lack of patrolling police. Of course, you can't have people run after each and every one, and yeah. Anyway, it's kind of stupid when they label everything as super organized crime when it's not. And of course we do have organized crime, but it's not the entire picture here. Sorry, I have to take a drink once again. Yeah, and my point there was what taking place here in Södertälje. It's not only the good things. It's things not spoken about. It's crimes against me, and I'm sure there's crimes about lots of others, and this is not reported. The people that the Swedish police has labeled as criminals, we are not criminals. When they started this operation in Södertälje, I know they took all this register, and they checked out like, okay, who is this people in this city here who has ever been involved in any criminal activity. We put and I'm one of them, and in this city we're like I guess it's thousands of us. I don't know that number, but this is what they did. They put all of us, and okay, these people, let's put them into jail, or let's harass them or portray them as mentally ill. These people is we will have them taken out of society and work and you name it, and yeah, this is not what they speak about on television. They are speaking about, oh, this city is so beautiful and nice and calm, and everything is so good today, and it is good. Yeah, okay, I give you that, but you have to acknowledge what's taking place here, what's not in the in the super nice perspective of our politicians here, and at the same time I don't blame our politicians, but because I do understand they have no clue about these weapons and torture and all of this. They are not told about this part. They are told about the great perspective, of course. So yeah. This has been a really long broadcast. We're up to 1.5 hours here. So I am really exhausted because I did a long broadcast prior to this as well. So this is the end of this one, and you can visit my GoFundMe, and I will leave a link in the description below. And I will thank you for listening, and please listen to upcoming broadcasts or podcasts or videos. And yeah, thanks for now, and have a nice day. Bye bye.